to not kill Osama bin Laden and not take out Al-Qaeda. So it was just God's justice. If there is a God, boy, this shows it to you. And Kris Tanto, known as Paronto, Kris Tanto, Paronto.com, one of the great heroes of Benghazi and one of the guys that had the courage during the campaign to expose that they were told there was a stand-down order by the State Department and expose this lying witch, joins us now, and she's not in power. We stopped her. She's not Madam President, like Newsweek said. Thank you so much for joining us on such a busy day, sir.
Thank you. Thanks again. Good to see you again, brother. Thank you, Alex.
It's good to have you here with us. Wow. So I could ask the questions, but now Trump's in. So much has happened. Yeah. Hillary, the things she's saying, the things she's doing, saying America's racist for electing Trump. I mean, what do you just make of all this?
Well, same as always. The DNC and the Democrats are still playing that same card, trying to break this country apart, because if they don't do that, if they don't create havoc, at some point they won't win elections. In my eyes, though, I don't even listen to what she has to say. She showed her true cards to us when she left us to die on 9/11/2012 and 9/12/2012, and two of my teammates did die. So whatever she says, honestly, it's water off a duck's back. I don't even pay attention to the woman.
I could ask the questions here, but Survivor of Benghazi's best-selling book, film, all of it, of all the things that brought Hillary down, I think it's either WikiLeaks or Benghazi. But I think Benghazi, with the soldiers, with the airmen, with the Air Force folks, with the people in our military, I think that was the bridge too far.
Well, I agree, because she's going up and she's calling the people that have sworn to protect this country, that serve based off honor, courage, integrity, and morality. And she's calling us liars. So by doing that, really, she sealed her own, literally, presidential death warrant. By doing that, you can't go up against special operations troops, Ranger, SEALs, and Marines, and say, hey, they're lying. I'm telling the truth, even though two of their brothers died right in front of them. So, and what it also did, Alex, and what you've been doing forever, is it exposed the corruption between the mainstream media and the left. That's what Benghazi did as well, by us standing up and telling the truth. And I'm thankful that we did that. Yes, we lost our jobs because of it. We all lost our security clearances, the whole team. We're done. But it still was the right thing to do. And I think in the long run, people will see that it saved our country from just going down another slippery slope.
I understand we can't have leaks, and I understand we can't have things like Chelsea Manning or whatever his name is, releasing all that stuff. But then down the road, the leaks about Hillary's criminal activities and the secret servers, that was good stuff, and that's what got Trump elected. So you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, I think the president should reissue your security clearances. Clearly, you did your job. You did the right thing. You didn't violate security just because you didn't go along with a lie when somebody derelicted their duty. And I think at the same time, I think, Julian Assange should be pardoned, because you can't get elected by somebody and then, then throw them to the wolves as well. But I understand you can't just have groups out there just getting stuff willy-nilly.
Well, in the leaks, as far as Hillary Clinton, she did that to herself. So by leaking, she did her own leaks that she incriminated herself
exactly.
with. So I wouldn't even call those leaks. When you're putting information out on open servers, you're giving up classified information. That's against the law. So she should be in jail. She has not been in jail. Of course, the FBI and James Comey and their shenanigans have decided not to incriminate her, which they still should, and she should be. But you're correct. When it takes a person like Julian Assange to show how corrupt our government is, we're at a sorry state, brother. We're at a very sorry state, but we can get back on track. And President Trump has that opportunity to not only put Hillary Clinton in jail, Susan Rice in jail, and whoever else took part in that, but also, you're right, at least open up some communication with Julian Assange and see what can be done, because essentially he did help Donald Trump get elected. But he didn't do the wrong thing. The information was already out there. So it's not like he went and grabbed classified information that was hidden somewhere. Hillary Clinton had it on open servers. What are you going to do? It's out there for anybody to grab.
Getting back to what I first covered, I want to get your take on that. So I know you're a Christian as I am, but what is it like to see her, with all her arrogance, collapse on 9/11 outside the memorial when she's leaving, on the anniversary of Benghazi and the stand-down order 4 years before, now 5 years and 15 years after 9/11, which they were intimately involved in allowing to happen?
You know, you don't want anything, and as a Christian, you don't want to see bad things happen to anybody. Whatever happened to her, that's going to be between her and her maker, and what happened to that day, that's between her and her maker as well. You reap what you sow. That old adage, you reap what you sow. We learned when we were growing up. That still holds true. And
because she got caught falling down on 9/11, and 1 month after the Secret Service said, just follow her around. And it wasn't our people that got it. We were there a week before and got her in the tent collapsed. I mean, it's just incredible.
It is. Do you think it's a coincidence? I don't think so. Do I pray for things like that to happen to her? People may think I do. I don't. But you know what? I didn't shed a tear when it did happen. If that makes me a bad person, so be it. I don't care. When you get left to die, and then you get lied to, and then also the family members of your fallen teammates are lied to, you get a little callous towards that person.
I was about to say, I know you don't want to get into all of it, but I mean, there was a lot of persecution against you guys and intimidation and threats of jail to try to keep you quiet.
There was, and then the media itself twisting stories or coming at us within certain government officials saying we were doing it because of money, saying we were making it up. As long as you stay strong, and what we had on our side more than anything is we had the truth on our side. It was easy just to say, hey, go away. Chris Cuomo, you're going to threaten me? Really? No, I think you can walk away there, Mr. CNN. That doesn't work against us. We're not intimidated easily, especially when we have the truth on our side, and especially when we remained as a team together, and we all had the truth on our side. It wasn't one individual. All of us stayed together, and that made us stronger. So you're not going to beat a SEAL and a Ranger and Marine in a fight. It's not going to happen, especially when we're teamed up together.
Kris Tanto Paronto is our guest, former Ranger, 2nd Battalion, 75th Regiment, security military consultant, hero Benghazi attack, working as a CIA contractor at the Annex. Amazing films. I don't really like just straight up war movies because, I've seen just violence and stuff in my own life. And but when you see something that was so documentary compared to just the accounts and things I read, and then you said it was very accurate as well. It's just amazing and a very powerful film. And I've read the book as well. Tell folks about your book and where people can find it.
Well, I've got a book called The Ranger Way, which was harder to write than 13 hours. Of course, we got 13 hours what really happened to Benghazi. The Ranger Way I was asked to write by the same producer, book publisher, as we did 13 hours. And it's just, honestly, it's about failing. And this is what our young generation has not figured out, that you can learn and succeed from failures. And that's all it is. It's a book of me failing multiple times and picking myself up and learning how to deal with those failures when something
and that's key. The social engineers write and admit. That's why it's so great that you're a motivational speaker to colleges and high schools, to thousands of kids every time you speak. That's what's so exciting, is that they teach people, everybody gets a participation trophy. You don't ever want to try because you might fail. Instead, the best things in my life were failing. Can you speak to that in the 7-8 minutes we've got left? Just things that you want to say instead of me asking the questions.
No, sure. Failing, going through Ranger School and failing a patrol, being miserable, being cold, being hungry, and saying, okay, I failed this. I don't want to fail again. What did I do wrong? And figuring that out. I'll be personal with you. I tried to commit suicide. That was a failure. I got kicked out of the military the first time I was in. That was a failure. What did I do when that happened? Picked myself up. All right. Actually got out of the hospital, said, what did I do wrong? Why did I screw up here? Is that the right thing to do? Do I want to end up this way? No, I don't. And I wouldn't have applied for the GRE. And I went to graduate school. During the 2 years I had to take off from the military, I kept moving forward and tried to continue to improve myself, even though I felt like the lowest human being, being kicked out from the military, trying to commit suicide, and failing at that. But I didn't say, I'm not going to sit down. And I went and got my master's degree. And when I got my master's degree, I went back to an Army recruiter and I said, what do? I want to go back in. He says, you got to do everything all over again. Got to go through basic training, got to go through airborne refresher, got to go through Ranger Indoc all over again if you want to go back in the Army. I said, fine. And I did it all over again. And you know what? That's also okay, because I learned from my failures, and I learned that, because of these failures, I may have to do everything and I may have to try harder, but I can do it because I was able to pick myself up. Those failures that I went through at the beginning, when Benghazi happened that night, I'd been through so much at that point, seen deaths over in Iraq, seen deaths in Afghanistan, been through my own trials and tribulations, that I was like, this is easy. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm having a good time here. I'm with my friends. I'm with my buddies. I can trust them. Yes, we're in a firefight. I'm seeing things that most people don't get to see. I've been through misery. I've been through pain. I can handle this. And it just gets you through.
And then hands down, they said, I mean, not to take away from other guys, they're all amazing heroes. Hands down, they say that, you know, you were the most effective guy out there that night of all those great people. And again, going from all that failure to all the other successes you'd had since then. Yeah,
and you know, I'm glad they say that. I think I served with heroes. They were, sometimes I'm just stupid and I just stand in front of gunfire because I don't know any better. Just maybe so there's a fine line that you cross. But since then, you know, you still, even being attacked by the media, being attacked by the government, being attacked by the deep state, which we are, I've tried to turn lemonade out of lemon and become a public speaker and been able to write another book and tried to stay positive and try to teach people that failure is okay and you can learn from it and that you never quit, you never give up. Encourage and honor and integrity are still in the United States of America, and you always thank a veteran for your freedom. Teaching the right rules that I was taught by my father when I was growing up.
You know, bring that in. I think people ought to have you to Austin, like to speak to UT or something. I spoke to UT one time, 5,000 people in the packed hall, and that was with no promotion. I think you should really come and speak to a quasi-hostile crowd about how they've been indoctrinated, because I'm not enemies with liberals that dump hot coffee on me or even threaten my family or all the harassment and things they've done, because it's nothing compared to being shot at. But there is a war now on America's streets, and they're programmed. They're losers manipulated. You read the WikiLeaks, it's Hillary saying, how do we keep them desperate? How do we keep them in the dark? There's Facebook documents where that came out this year where they're trying to keep people alone with bots that are fake liberal bots that try to keep them in outrage, to manipulate them. I mean, this is trauma-based mind control. They create a loser mentality, then they capture them as losers at the universities, and then they control them. And I think somebody like you might be able to break them out of their trance.
I'd love to. If they want to know if I'm a good speaker, they can go. Not surprisingly, I have spoken at their competitor, Texas A&M. I don't know if that shouldn't surprise anybody, because that's an Army.
I'm just saying you ought to be giving speeches to 50,000 people. I mean, I've seen you give them to 5,000 because you're a great public speaker.
Well, as soon as somebody asks me, I will. But if I talk to one person, if I talk to 50,000. As long as somebody can walk away out of there and say, you know what, I'm a lot stronger now, or I can overcome one person, then I feel like I've done my job and I feel like I've accomplished something. And that makes me feel good, which in turn is cathartic for me, because I've been through a lot myself and I have my down times too.
Well, you can stay a little bit longer from the bottom of the hour. That's good. I want to take a few calls specifically for one of the heroes of Benghazi. Kris Tanto, Paronto.com is the website. Kris Tanto is our guest. Toll-free number. Take a few calls on the other side. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. The author of The Ranger Way is his newest book. Obviously, there's also the book that the film is based on as well. Really amazing website, really good-looking website as well. Wish I had one that good. Again, it's at KrisTantoParonto.com. Be sure and go check that out. We got a few minutes to break, but continue with just other points politically or your own life you want to get to.
You know, as today goes on, again, I know we get into politics in 9/11. We get who did what, who didn't do what. As I've moved on, and I was angry that first time. The first 9/11, the first year after, I was angry because of what was going on, because of the lying was going on. I went to Yemen. I redeployed to Yemen after Benghazi. I did. Today, I'm not as angry, and I see Benghazi as what it should be saw as, and that is sacrifice, what this great nation has been built on. And I see it through Roan and Bub, who died that night, and I'm so proud to call them teammates, and those guys are the heroes. And I don't want people to ever forget them, because as soon as they forget their names, that's when those heroes die, and I don't want them ever to die. And that's important to me.
That's
really
right.
Important to me.
Well, just like they were trying to start a race war a month ago, and they admitted it, and Soros admitted it, Harvey in Texas brought everybody together, just like this new hurricane, as tragic as Irma is. It just shows how, from a tragedy like Benghazi, so many good things have happened. And probably we'd have Hillary Clinton today if Benghazi hadn't happened.
I completely agree with you. We exposed the corruption that was going on. We helped expose it. I shouldn't say we were the ones, but we helped expose that there was corruptness in the State Department, which there always has been, but now we showed it, and there was corruption within the ministry administration, and there was colluding. I love that word, whoever invented it, but there was collusion between the DNC and between the mainstream media. And we showed all that. But we sacrificed our careers for it, but it was the right thing to do.
I want to ask you this question when we come back. What do you think Benghazi was really about? I mean, why did they order the stand down for all those hours, thinking the military would go along with it? It's just crazy. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Infowars.com and our new site, newswars.com. Spread those links. We'll be back. Mentalists saying pay carbon taxes to Al Gore. He'll fix it. Shut down our plants. Move them to China. It's crazy. We're going to take your phone calls until the end of the hour with the man who's written The Ranger Way, Kris Tanto. Paronto.com's the website. Kris Tanto, again, is our guest, one of the survivors of Benghazi. He'll say he's not a hero, but he is. And reading the accounts and then seeing the film, it's a very powerful film that I think even young people should see it. I don't usually like violent stuff for my kids, but let my son watch it and let my older daughter watch it because they need to know the type of stuff the military goes through. Because I talked to a lot of folks and I've read a lot of after-action reports you never see in movies where stuff like Benghazi, where people pinned down and things going on, these big firefights with 3 guys holding off 100 guys, that's happened actually quite a bit. But you never hear about it, especially from the Army, because they don't talk about that stuff. Just briefly, I skipped breaks this hour. I skipped breaks last hour. I got to stop. Good on something that really gets him down, and I just explain, just keep trying. But I remember being 14, too, where stuff would really get to me. Now I don't enjoy failing, but it's like, when I'm messing up at something, I want to do it over and over again. I wish I had that when it came to exercise. I used to. When it comes to work, I can work 20 hours and love it. And when something fails, I want to just keep doing it till I get it done. When I was young, I didn't like that. Now, like something's not uploading, like I do it over and over until it finally happens. Used to, I'd get mad. Now I actually like enjoy fighting with stuff. But I just wish you could get that imparted to teenagers because I remember being like my son, who's a great guy. But getting back to that before we get into politics, how do we impart knowledge to the young? They say youth is wasted on the young. I mean, because it's so frustrating to know what I know now, how smart my dad and mom were when I thought they were so stupid. And of course, every parent, every adult says this, but every generation we go through it, my dad, though, really knew his dad was right. So something generationally has happened, too.
Well, I can't say that we should change it. The millennials, I don't know what happened to them. I really don't. The youth, my 12-year-old boy, you just raise him right. You try to teach him values. You try to teach him honor, integrity. You let him make mistakes. So this is, let me answer. I guess I could answer my own question. The millennials, what went wrong with majority of them? The participation trophies. Everybody wins. You don't know how to fail anymore. You don't know how to pick yourself up off the ground. We got to allow our children to fail. And help them, let them learn from it, but also help them succeed and learn from those mistakes so they don't fail again. Or if they do fail again, teach them again. But the biggest thing is always teaching them to get back up. Get back up. And whatever happens, get on that horse and keep riding it. Even if you fall off 80 times, get back on that horse 81 times then. I think that's where we really failed some of the younger generations that we've had, where we can fix that now, is that, you know what? Not everybody's going to win a trophy. You're just going to have to work hard. And the one that works hardest usually wins. There are some times where they don't. But it doesn't matter. If you don't win, you don't win. Keep trying. Keep working. Get up in the morning. Get up in the morning and work harder. Get up in the morning and study.
Well, I've noticed in politics, a lot of people get into it, get a little bit of success in life or in policy or, in trying to be involved in their communities. And then as soon as they get a little success, they want to just act like they're successful. What's the point of that? They're not mission-driven. And so that's why they're then so unfulfilled as well. I mean, what fulfills you the most?
Well, just continuing to move forward. Boone and I, Dave Benton, Boone, he was the sniper that was on the roof with me that night, a guy we served 10 years with. We're doing the speaking, he's training, we're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We started our own training company called Battle Line Tactical. Because we're like, you know what? We're missing the gun. We're at least missing part of the job. Let's do something that gets us fulfilled, but also we can help other people and maybe lend a little bit of our shooting expertise. Just trying something new, and being with somebody I trust, but also getting out there and doing something I enjoy, which is shooting, but also getting out there and getting out there tactically and showing people, hey, this is a firearm. This is what we do. This is how you shoot it. This is how you can be successful at it. This is, and seeing how it opens up their eyes and how they smile when they start hitting a target. Doing something that is fun for you, that is challenging, that you might fail at, you might have to learn at, but you still continue to set goals and reach those goals. You hit around the head, people become stagnant. Well, you got to keep setting goals. I do. I continue to set goals, and I do exercise a lot because I need to. That's what gets me going. I can't sit idle, so I got to go for a run. In fact, I'll go for a run after we're done here because I'm going to be all amped up. But that's what I do. That's my niche that gets me going. Everybody needs to do that. Just don't sit around. Find something that gets you excited.
Sure.
And work hard at it.
Kris Tanto Paronto is our guest. KrisTantoParonto.com is the website. I'm Alex Jones. If you just tuned in, Infowars.com, Newswars.com. There's a lot of powerful forces openly censoring Infowars. I remember them when the vets were, when Tanto and others were putting out things on Facebook about, Hillary's a liar, they would block them on Facebook. People say, oh, we'll just get off Facebook. No, they're supposedly this big open thing. They claim it has free speech as long as you follow the rules. And if Hillary's calling them liars, they're allowed to go out and say, no, we were there, she's a liar. It's because they are effective and they're telling the truth. They wanted to shut them down. But there really is an attack on free speech. They admit it now. The Antifa funded by Soros has gone out and tried to intimidate everybody. But 3 weeks after Trump said they were bad too, not just the white supremacists who were bad as well, the media had to admit, and Pelosi had to back off and say, you know what? Antifa is bad. So can you speak to the attempts to destabilize the country? Can you speak to, I don't know if you saw it, Phil Mudd, former deputy director of the CIA, said we're going to kill Trump soon. I mean, they're really hyping the hell out of this. And I just had Steve Pachinik on earlier, who's been in a lot of secret stuff. He said, oh, don't worry. They're just weak. That's why they're doing it. But I still think we should pay attention to this. This is illegal, and it really concerns me. So can you talk to the atmosphere of the left wanting to get militaristic, wanting to get weatherman style, and then high-level people saying that, oh, don't worry, we're going to kill the president?
Well, it's propaganda. It's what they do in the Middle East. It's what a lot of those dictatorship countries do. It's what people the countries that have terrorists running them, Libya, even I'm sure even parts of Iraq still. It's pushing people. It's getting them into their heads. It's inciting them. So eventually, all it takes is one crazy gets out there and has a vest on and blows himself up. You've got massive casualties. 6 crazies hijack a jet and fly it in the World Trade Center. You got massive deaths. So I think it is important to stop it. And when an former FBI director or anybody within the government is saying you got to kill the president, I think there's a law against that. Am I right, Alex? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you can do that without the Secret Service knocking on your door and saying, hey, come with us. I don't care who you're working with.
Well, especially when you're the former deputy director of the FBI who was appointed by Mueller, who was the former deputy director of the CIA over counterterrorism operations. You worked for this guy previously, and he's on TV saying we're getting ready to kill him. It's like you said, it's a big confidence game so that nuts think that it's okay and go and try to do it. It's clearly, just like Al-Qaeda puts out videos hoping somebody does it.
Well, that's when you see the young boy who's very easily manipulated, walks into a checkpoint and blows himself up because he's been by the DMOM or whatever propaganda they push out there. They continually see it and say, well, this is the right thing to do. This is exactly what's happening. It's exactly what I see in the Middle East is what's happening here, just on a bigger scale because we have more media to do it with.
Well, talking to your buddies and other people, who are connected, what do they think's going on here? Because, I mean, it just seems really upsetting to me, and I'm just wondering, what we should do politically to counter this.
Well, you know what? Trump has the ability to still get rid of people. I believe it was on Andrew Wilkow's show recently with my Navy SEAL buddy, Jonathan Gillum, who's still a good friend and former operator himself, a Navy SEAL. We talked about that, and I said, what we have to do is, first of all, as operators, we have to pay attention. We have to be ever vigilant. We have to be ever ready. But as far as what Trump can do, he's got to fire people. Is it the normal thing to do for Trump to get rid of people, or a president to just say, hey, you're fired? No, that's not normal. But what has normal got us so far? It's got us into this mess. And if there's somebody that's conspiring against him, there's somebody that's not doing their job, whether they're political official or not, and he has the ability to get rid of them, bye, you're gone. And then, of course, the Secret Service has to do their job protecting him, but he may, and I don't want him to become a dictator. I'm not saying that.
No, but when people are trying to organize an overthrow of the elected government, they're trying to be the dictators.
Exactly, and you have to do what you need to do to stop that. We still are the greatest country in the world, greatest country ever. So you don't send mass thugs out like they do in Iraq, or you send the opposition party to go kill the other party. but there are civilized ways.
Well, that's the problem. They're turning into that, and then we're just sitting here going, we're genteel, and I get the trap, but there's got to be some middle point there where you don't let people do this. It's too dangerous.
And that's, I don't have an answer for you right there on Alex. What you know, the perfect world for a guy like myself, for guys like us, is if those crazies stand up, you have a sea of us guys that will stand up and rise against it. We will. And we're not going to do it because that's not our style.
And I think they know that. That's why they hate the veterans and the patriots so much, because they know you actually stand for something.
We will. We're waiting. Hey, you want to make it a perfect world like that? Go ahead and stand up. We'll stand up against you, and then I'll go get McDonald's instead of going and getting Baba Ganoush in Iraq. How much of a perfect world is that for me? The American dream, and people can say I'm crazy, whatever. But if people are going to rise up and try to turn this country into anarchy and try to turn it into what I saw in the Middle East, I will stand up against it. I will. And
well, that's what you're doing right now. That's what you're doing right now. Let's go to some phone calls here. We've got Sam in Oklahoma, Duke in Oklahoma, Trout in California, Dovin in Florida, Ed in Alabama, and many others. Sam in Oklahoma, you're up first. Go ahead.
Hi there. Hi, Chris. Hi, Alex.
Hi, sir.
I'd like to start by saying that you're both great Americans. I have preached the gospel in all of Mexico over the last 25 years. I'm an American, too. And I'd just like to say also that you're a great Mexican. And I believe that you can really be a peacemaker and to heal some of the divide with the Hispanic people of America. Is that something that you're open to?
Well, let me just say, we're all Americans here. I don't see the divide with Hispanic people. I see them, on average, as more Christian, more family, almost immune to the globalist brainwashing, except for Hispanic people I see at colleges. When I go out and get attacked and spit on and punched and people throw coffee on me, it's liberal white people. And I'm not making this about what color somebody is, but I mean, I don't see it. I see a bunch of crazy white guilt academics being the main problem in this country with some Black Lives Matter lunatics with them. Kris?
You know, what I can do then as far as being a Mexican-American, my grandfather, Joaquin Garcia, he did immigrate here from Mexico, is being a positive role model for him. Say, look at, my grandfather came over here as a migrant. He wasn't illegal. He got his citizenship. He did it. He got it the right way. And he taught us. He said to us, I remember it, he said this to my mom, and it's been transferred up, you never take handouts. We don't take anything from anybody. We work and we earn everything ourselves. And I learned from him. So and of course I'm open to it, becoming a role model, positive role model. I got to get my Spanish better. I've lost a lot of my Spanish over in the Middle East.
Well, I actually agree with what the pastor's saying, though. We do need stuff in Spanish as an outreach. I want to launch a daily show for hours with Spanish-speaking InfoWarriors, and we're actually trying to, from other talk show hosts around the world, because most of them seem to be like in other countries, recruit folks to do a Spanish version show.
Pastor, I would be more than happy to address that and possibly do it if I can help. And I got to say, where you're at, being a Mexican, doing what you're doing, I'm proud of you. You're doing great things over there. You're doing something that I probably should be doing myself.
Absolutely. Sam, anything else?
Come on down to visit anytime, Tanto. I think you need to make a T-shirt, Alex, where we replace Che Guevara's mugshot with Tanto Paronto. And I'll tell you, the Mexican people, they're tremendously open to truth when you speak with them.
Very
so
hungry.
Many people on the street, they ask me about Donald Trump, and when I make a comparison between Donald Trump and the Mexican hero, Francisco I. Madero, he said all the same things. He said he was from the north of the country. He was wealthy from business. His father was wealthy before him. He said the system was rigged, and if it wasn't, that he would win with 90% of the vote. And lo and behold, it took a revolution to get that election. But after that happened, the Mexican people elected him with 90% of the vote. Francisco Madero did a good deal.
Oh, yeah. We proved the fake polls. We had the data. Yeah. The big companies had it. The bots knew that Trump's really at about 65%. That's why they're trying to say if you support him, you're a rapist, you're a race, all this stuff, because they're so desperate, because they know there's a total revolution against their leftist garbage. Thank you so much, Sam. We're going to come back and talk to Duke, Trout, and others straight ahead with our guest. He said he's not busy till about 5, but we've got big breaking news coming up. And I could have him on for 5 hours. It'd be awesome sometime with Roger Stone on what's going on inside the White House. We're going to come back and do 5 more minutes and then 5 minutes in the next hour with Kris. And then we're going to have Roger Stone on with bombshell breaking news. Your phone calls are straight ahead. Stay with us. It's got to be done, and just so we're going to do it. So that's coming up. Kris, you were saying some powerful stuff during the break. You want to repeat about just running into the lies yourself, not just in the CIA work, but then once you were under the microscope experiencing fake news for yourself?
Yeah, and I did. Just from going on, and I can't talk about the ops and stuff, but going on going through an op and then turning on the news, because we get of course we get the news over there, or you get AFN, or you get reruns of the mainstream media, and seeing how they were misreported it. Of course, at that point in time, I'm working. I can't say anything. But then when Benghazi happened, and you see the massive, and I get involved because of me being on the ground there, the massive lies, the cover-up, the corruption, the collusion between the CNNs and the MSNBCs with the administration, and the Rhodes, Ben and David Rhodes. Come on, CBS, and making up that fake story of the video, and just saying like, wow, this house of cards stuff that you don't think happens really happens, because I'm in the middle of it right now. And I don't do you'll never see me on CNN. You'll never see me on MSNBC, because they continually mistell or lie.
Sure, they'll interview you for an hour and then play 30 seconds out of context, editing 2 different questions together where you sound crazy.
And I won't do it anymore. I won't. And my publicist hates it. She goes, "What you got to do? You got to reach out to those folks." And this is what guys like myself and people that get on the news need to do. They need to stand. I say to her, I said, you know what? If they want to see me, they'll get off those channels and they'll come to me. I don't need them. If they want me, they can come to me.
They're so bad. They'll ask you one question and then play a totally different answer from something else. Like, why did you lie about the kids? Well, I didn't mean to lie about it. I'm sorry. It's like, they'll just totally distort. Let's take another call here. Let's go ahead and talk to Duke in Oklahoma. Duke, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Kris, good to talk to you. Alex, you too.
You bet.
I love you guys, man. You what you've done for this country, and being able to speak out for people that have no voice, to be able to communicate these things and allow people to realize the seriousness of what we're going through in society and our culture today, and the problems that face us that we never saw coming. We need more people like that, and our kids are where it's at. We've got to teach our children the core values of what our grandparents believed in and what this country stands for, or we're going to lose this fight.
Absolutely. What's your question for the guest, Duke?
Basically, I just wanted to make a statement, man. I just appreciate you guys. I've got your 6. You guys got our 6. We're all in this together. Let's make something happen.
God bless you, Duke. Any comments to that, Kris?
I love the Midwest. That's why I live in Nebraska, because that's how people are. They're good people that still have those values that I grew up with. So
that's what's so insulting to hear him say everybody in the Midwest is white and racist, when Houston's the most diverse city in the United States, hands down. And then they're just saying, thank God it's flooded. They're all KKK.
What kills me is I love this too. I always say this to the racist. Tanto, you're a racist. Well, no, I'm not. I'm a Mexican racist, is what you're telling me. And my best friend, Dave Boone Benton, is black. So yeah, sure, we're both racist. It's just an argument they're going to use to continue to try to drive us apart. You just kind of have to laugh it off at their idiocy.
Absolutely. And I think all their craziness and saying they're going to kill the president is a sign of their weakness. So
I agree.
It's still dangerous, though, because they're trying to get nuts to do something. Back in 70 seconds with a few more phone calls. Trout, Mike, Alyssa, others. We're going to go right to you in 70 seconds. 4th hour straight ahead. Roger Stone's coming up. You do not want to miss it. Kris, TantoParonto.com. An hour. Amazing. Listening on KOMY 1340 out in Santa Cruz. You're on the air with Tanto. Go ahead.
Hey, Kris, Trout here. For all the new listeners that I and others have told about KOMY 1340, do you guys want to say thank you?
All right, well, thank you, sir. Go ahead. Do you have any questions or comments on Benghazi?
You're welcome. For all the new listeners, why don't you go over, give us a history of Benghazi, because thankfully Michael Savage had him on, and we're hoping Sean Kennedy, doing a fine job over there, will also have him on. But for those new listeners, and believe me, guys, there's all sorts of people.
No, I understand, Trout. We need to go back over Benghazi, WikiLeaks, hammer the crimes, because as libertarians, conservatives, we just move forward with our lives. You know, once we defeat them, but they're still attacking us. They haven't gone to jail. That's a great question. Thank you, Trout. In fact, I asked a question earlier, and I never got to it. Recapping just in a few minutes what happened at Benghazi, why it's so important. What really happened?
Well, as far as the attack itself, the consulate was attacked, the State Department compound. We were CIA. We had no responsibility to that compound, aside from us just giving a handshake agreement to the State Department officers that we'd help out if they were attacked. Ambassador Stevens came in. We knew that Ambassador Stevens was a very high-ranking ambassador. If you want to give him a comparison level, that guy's a 3-star general. And as far you know, just by talking, Alex, that ambassador levels are different. He didn't just donate to a campaign and was given an ambassadorship. He had worked his way up. The guy was he was fantastic in the State Department as far as the foreign services, because he'd worked his way up there. He was a very high value target as well. So when he came in, we said, we'll help you guys if you ever need us, and they did. They were attacked, and for the next close to 8 hours from 9:32 to approximately 5:30, we were attacked. We were involved in 5 different firefights that night. Some were small. A couple were massive, and we were actually hit with mortars on the last firefight, 81 millimeter mortars, which are basically bombs coming out of a tube that killed my teammates, Tyrone and Glenn. The issue that we had with that was that it was 8 hours, and we'd been calling for air support or any sort of support for that 8 hours, and there were troops available for us that could help us, and they were never allowed to go. And that's State Department, that's the administration.
And do we know why they wanted you wiped out? I mean, the word I got was they wanted the jihadis to get those weapons and transfer them to Syria.
Again, and that's... Alex, without me not being Hillary Clinton, if I let you know what we're actually doing there, I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm going to let you keep talking about that, and I'll neither confirm or deny.
Sure. Well, Colonel Schaefer got in trouble, but then he didn't get in trouble. He was the first to tell us 4 days in on this show what happened, and I heard behind the scenes from other sources they went completely ape over it, but that turned out what happened.
Yeah, and that's why the story has been just stopped, and you haven't heard a lot, because what was going on there, and then also, of course, it was going to affect the election after it was done. Obama wouldn't have been elected, I don't think, if the truth would have came out immediately. That both the Republicans and the Democrats were involved with the operations that were going on there. But like I said,
Sure. John McCain, I mean, he publicly went months after, was arming the rebels in public.
He is no friend of mine. I'll just leave it at that. He is no friend of mine at all.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're out of time for the callers. I just know that Tosh Plumlee and Colonel Schaefer and countless others risked their lives on this show. Sure. CIA contractors, you name it, to tell everybody what really happened. People in NATO went public with the info. We covered it here, and we need your prayers, folks, because they'd love to kill us if they could get away with it, but they know that'd turn us into martyrs. So just keep praying for us. And for Kris, Tanto Paronto, KrisTantoParonto.com. Kris, thank you so much. And please, anytime you want to come on or anytime you want to join David Knight or Owen Schroyer or any other host, because we're launching a larger system here, we'd love to have you. God bless you, sir.
God bless you too, sir. Thank you again, and be safe, man.
Thank you so much for joining us on the anniversary of Benghazi. Thank you. God bless.